is Erma Grego, and it is the Senior Perspective. We are beginning a series highlighting all the interesting and historical areas that combine to make up Peters Township. Some of the areas we are going to be covering are Hackett, which we're doing today, Venetia, Bower Hill, McMurray, Thompsonville, and Donaldson's Crossroads. Today we are starting at the eastern end of Peters Township, and our first place of interest is the village of Hackett. Hackett was a mining town situated on the B&O Railroad at the intersection of the boundary lines of Peters, Nottingham, and Union Township. The town was named for Thomas Hackett from Pittsburgh, who operated the Hackett mine a short distance west of the railroad station. This mine was abandoned about 1900. In the early days of Peters Township, it was a very busy village, having all sorts of historical interests, of which my guests will be telling us about today. My guests are Marie Telban Leslie, Charles Talbon, Shirley Sopko Pinchok,
yes,
and Herman Mikec. Well, what do you say we get started down memory lane? So who would like to say something first?
Shirley, you're volunteered, right?
Well, I remember the iceman coming with the ice, and when the off-season, he used to deliver coal to the families. And what I remember when I was a kid, how we used to sled ride down the main road because there wasn't hardly any cars.
Mm-hmm.
We used to enjoy playing games outdoors, all of us kids. We didn't have no computers or no Sega Genesis or anything.
No television.
No television, not even a telephone. So there's a lot of other things that some of these others might want to talk about, so I'll give someone else.
Before we all start again, I understand that you were all born in Hackett, born and raised in Hackett.
Right.
Yes, in the houses that we
right.
lived in, we were born there.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So that's very interesting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's just like me. I mean, I've lived where I'm at for, well, since I was 7 years old. So our roots go very deep.
Right.
And we are definitely Peters Township residents. Okay, who wants to say something next? Rosemary?
This is my brother. Our grandparents came from Austria, and they moved to Hackett in 1894. Raised 10 children there.
10 children? Small families.
Yeah, and my grandfather was pretty active building houses, running a coal mine. He had a store, and then our father had a store too, which we grew up in the store. And he was real busy. He was an interpreter at the courthouse, and it's a real interesting family.
Yeah,
there are 2 aunts still living yet.
How many?
2 aunts that are in their 90s, 95 and 93.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
So that's how we got our roots in Hackett.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Charles?
Well, I remember running out in the woods and the fields in Hackett. That was when most of the fields were pastures and they had sheep and cattle in them. And we used to go out to the Boy Scout Dam. And that's where the Boy Scouts had their meetings in the summer times. And above the dam they had a little wooden bridge built over to a spring. And I remember going in there getting a drink of water, and the older boys would tell us, watch that the salamanders wouldn't jump down your throat. And I guess everybody knows salamanders are like little lizards.
Yeah.
And they also had a fireplace built back in the grove of woods above the dam, and the people at Hackett used to go out there and have picnics in the summertime.
Mm-hmm. And it was all cleared off and everything. I mean, it wasn't all woods.
It was pastures, and it had big groves of trees, and the trees were really large.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember some of the older guys used to tell us that the squirrels would go up and lay on the top branches, and they couldn't bring them down with a shotgun, so
they were pretty high.
They were pretty high.
Well, can you maybe, do you mind if I call you Chuck?
That's okay.
Do you remember anything about, there being a post office? We're starting down at the very end of Hackett. Now, this is the beginning of Peters Township. And can you tell me, do you know anything about the post office that was down there?
Well, just what my aunts and uncles had told me that we have a picture of a store that my dad had owned.
Grandfather.
Well, when we show, we'll probably
it may be
show
my
it.
grandfather, yes.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, there was a post office in there, and my Aunt Mary was one of the first postmistresses when they had the post office. And I guess the address was actually Hackett at that time.
Oh, it had
Instead-
its own post office
Yes.
address?
Yeah,
No zip code, though,
I've
right?
seen
No zip code.
I've seen postcards.
What?
I've seen postcards. My uncle, when he was in World War I in Paris, he sent home to my aunt, and it was Hackett, Pennsylvania.
It would be Hackett and Venetia? I mean,
Just Hackett, Pennsylvania.
Oh. So the post office was really in Hackett for the first one, and then not in Venetia?
I
then for
don't
the
know
third?
about Venetia's. It must have come
We'll
later.
hear about Venetia later on. Okay, Herm, you got any memories?
Well, yes, and one thing that my parents purchased their house from Rosemary and Charles's grandpap, and that's back in 1924. And about that time, they started the Hackett Club, which over the years I'd been an officer there. My brother's been an officer. My father, our fathers were founders of the club that's down there.
Yeah.
And we used to have, we held dances down there almost every Saturday, and polka dances. It was really an entertaining time for all the people there. And I still have three brothers that live in the Peters Township yet, out of the 7 of us, and we're fortunately all living yet, but they're all in the Pittsburgh area. But it's we've enjoyed the things that have changed, and from the old horse and wagon that delivered coal to our place from John Wilkinson's mine out there when I was very young, and my older brothers used to tease us that those were the reindeer tracks when it was around Christmas time when coal was delivered, and we stay there. There are the tracks, and that's
Santa
from
Claus.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And so it goes back. There was a lot of changes, and Shirley was telling us about the medicine shows. I had almost forgotten about those. When we were very little, we had the medicine shows down there.
Yeah, you were saying something. That sounds really interesting.
It was very interesting. They cured all the little
Just
bottles
like you
that
see
they-
on the Western...
Oh, yes, they were exactly the same. They'd get up and,
Sideshows, they had sideshows.
right.
And they would end up selling their
Selling
cure-all.
their cure-all. It was like they'd hold it for like a week. You'd go every night over there. Yeah.
They wouldn't set up a tent or anything. They just pulled this wagon out or
Well,
something? Or,
no, there was a screen. There was a
Yeah,
film
because
projector too then.
they had different sideshows that you could go in and see different things.
Oh.
I just don't remember.
Probably had some banjo acts.
Yeah, banjos.
And of course, we all walked to Venetia School, what's up there now. And
Yeah,
Well, that was...
all
you
kinds of
didn't go
weather.
there in first grade, though, did you?
yes,
Yes,
The
we
Venetia
did.
School?
yes.
Well, by
Till
that
the
time,
eighth
then they
grade.
didn't have the schools that were in Hackett, then they were closed.
They were
No.
closed.
Right.
yeah.
Because I understand there was, 2 schools in Hackett at
2.
one time?
Yes.
Do you know anything about that, Shirley?
I don't know too much, but Herman was saying Sloniger's, is it?
Slonovich,
Slonivich's house.
where William Gusky, Bill Gusky lives now. That had been a school. That was
School.
right down across the road from Talbon's store. But that was before Talbon had the store there, I think. It was the
Yeah,
school
our
was there.
father.
Well, then wasn't there another school then right near your store?
Feefult's Hall as you enter Hackett from the other side, from Venetia. It was a school, and our Aunt Rose taught there
Oh,
in the 1920s.
Were they from both schools? Did they go to different grades or something? Do you know anything about them or
No.
anything?
I don't think, did they operate at the same time?
no.
might have
No,
built
one
the
was
bigger
closed
one.
when the other one,
I think the
Probably.
one next to the store was closed before the other was
Yeah.
opened.
Yeah, Feefult was
It was
bigger.
a larger building.
yes.
Oh, and then they used, what you said, the Feefult
Hall.
school
Hall, yeah.
then for a hall, and then they made a school.
It became a dance hall, like
For weddings and
Weddings.
things. I had a brother married there. and
We had our
sister married,
reception there.
had their reception there.
Yeah.
Then some private owners took over later.
What the last Chapman Plumbing and Heating had their timber fabricating shop in the hall.
Who was that?
Chapman Plumbing and
Oh,
Heating.
Chapman.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. Jim used to go up there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now you can't recognize it as a school. It's been a large brick porch has been built onto the front, and there's been siding put on the back, and the windows has been changed.
When we did a little bit of the field work for Hackett, we went up to the cemetery and that. So, was it windy up there? So, at one time, I think you were telling me, Charles, I think you were telling me that it was called the Hackett Cemetery,
Yes.
and then they changed it to the Finleyville.
Right.
And from what I understand, it was started right after around the Civil War time, because there were some Civil War veterans buried up there. And there's quite a few. There's over 200 veterans buried up there.
Buried up there.
Both of my parents are buried up there too.
Yeah, our parents were
Mine too,
there.
and I-
Our
My
parents too.
brother.
But it's a well-kept cemetery. You know,
It is.
for
I mean, I'd never been
for
up
a small
there.
community of Finleyville has it. It's must be well endowed.
No, I had never been up there before, and it was very. And what a view from up on top of that hill! Oh, I know, Charles, you were telling us something about there's an airport just over the hill from
It's
what is
up
it, from
above.
Hackett or something?
Oh. Yes, it's on top of the hill as you're to the right, as you're going towards Finleyville. At the Finleyville Airport.
Is that where you come going across the bridge and then you go up a little piece and it's an airport road or
Right.
something
Right,
like that?
right.
It goes up to there.
Yes, that was there. I remember taking my first ride up there, and I don't know when it was. Used to have for $3 or something like that, you could go for 5 or 10 minutes.
Really?
And I remember doing that once.
Not me.
Not you?
I didn't know about it.
Oh yes, yes. And John Chapman flew from up there, and I know some other friends of mine.
Well, it's still in use up there.
Yes.
The airport.
Yes.
Is it private planes that stay there or something?
Yes,
Or is it
they
mostly?
have some
Yeah,
hangars.
everyone has their own plane, I think. They have, I don't
That's
know.
those little planes you see flying
you
around.
see flying around
there.
the area.
Yeah.
Well, it was sold by I forget the Verno's last name. It was sold to Stanley Siggins, I think, who
Siggins.
developed the airport. But when it was a farm up there, I worked up there as a youngster.
Oh, it was a farm at one time.
8 or 10 years old. I
Yeah.
worked up there. Used to walk up the hill and work in the garden and milk the goats and help them milk the cows. And
Sonny milked cows too at our grandfather's.
at only 8 years old, you don't know too much about it, but you tried and you worked.
I know when we had cows, well, we just had one cow in that, but the cats would line up, and my husband would squirt milk into their faces.
Yeah.
And they would wipe their, they waited for that milk. They wanted so they really got it fresh milk. So, well, how about you girls? You got some more
Well, and
memories?
Herman, he
Well, I
remembered
think-
when the road was brick.
Right, it used to be a
Venetia
brick
Road.
road. Right, going up the hill was brick then. Then they blacktopped it at one time on top
Yeah.
of it. But it's amazing the successful, to my estimation, successful people that came out of Hackett. Bill Dubbs had a market, John Chapman from Chapman Corporation,
Right.
Ron Sopko from Sopko Contracting, and
Bobby
my brother
McClure.
Tony from Lighthouse Electric here, and all the Marty boys.
Right.
I
Bobby
mean,
McClure.
it's quite a few, and some attorneys and married doctors, from Dr. Schwera,
Yeah.
Dot Viefel, and then there was Bob McClure, that's from McClure Industries. So
And his
we're a
uncle-
small community.
His Uncle John has been very, very active in the township.
Right. So that's it's amazing for a small community, the mining community, how I suppose the way our parents brought us up, teaching everyone right from wrong, and when Charlie and I, coming from the same place, little town, we both spent some time in Korea in '53 and '54, and we met over in the Post Exchange when someone called me Hey Haim, which was my nickname, and then I knew it had to be someone from Hackett. But it was interesting. And also Jack Green, who lived up the road, and his dad was nice enough to come down and tell my dad that he met me in Korea, you know, a few miles away in a small community.
Yeah, quite a few miles away.
Art Beer was there with us, so that was like old home week.
It is very interesting that so many have done very well in the community. And
Like our grandfather must have believed in education. My uncle was a lawyer in Cleveland, and 2 daughters were teachers, 2 were nurses. My dad went to some mechanical school before he had the store, and my one aunt was a postmistress. So.
Well, I think our parents believed in education.
And
Right.
the music
Yes.
too.
And,
They had a piano at the house, and in fact, I got my aunt's piano when I was 12 years old.
Is
and
it a
then,
player?
No, it's just a regular
piano?
and it's still down in the game room. And my daughter learned to play on it, and now my granddaughters are playing.
Well, her aunt taught us in school.
Yeah, she taught us
Irene was there
Oh,
for many
she taught
years.
in Hackett.
at Venetia.
No, Venetia School.
Oh, Venetia School.
And Miss Kachinik from Hackett taught at Venetia School, and Miss Lash. So we had local teachers too, teaching,
Yeah.
you know.
And they were very professional. My aunt used to say that when they had dances down at the Hackett Club, she couldn't go because that was no place for a teacher to be.
Oh,
The school board didn't allow it.
oh,
They
oh.
Weren't
had to
women allowed?
The school
Well,
board didn't
especially
allow
teachers, because
Oh.
they were
Teachers.
just a lot more of a
You mean no
profession.
women were allowed to go to the club?
Oh, the women were at the
teachers.
club.
The
They
te-
were
I mean,
teachers.
she was a
Teachers.
teacher, and she didn't.
I guess.
She couldn't go down there.
Yeah. But well, you mean like just to go down there, but if you had dances or something, she wasn't permitted to go then
Well,
either?
she didn't take the chance of going because it would
Losing her job.
her reputation, or
Yeah,
they were very.
They were very conscientious.
But
of
they were
this.
very nice dances. There was nothing
yeah.
wrong with them.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
certainly they were just the polka dance with good entertainment, and
Yeah, I used to go down to the polka dances.
did you?
Oh, yeah.
But Charlie's dad, he and I were officers at the same time, and we used to have fun and kids, and maybe even go downstairs. I think, boy, those two don't get along. We'd get down, first ones to have a drink together. You know? But we were friends, and it was all throughout the years.
And Sonny was president at one time of the club.
Yes. My brother Bill for years too. My dad was officer.
They used to have those feeds, remember?
Oh yeah, they had the banquets every year. We had the banquet, free banquet every year for all the members.
You guys would get together and make the kibasi and then have it smoked.
That was something our
Tom
dad
Marty
did
used
every
to
year,
smoke
was make the kibasi.
Made the
He had a lot of
kibasi. That was his job to
customers.
make that.
Well, he made it for the store, and a lot of the customers loved the kibasi.
Yeah, I still love it.
Yeah.
No,
Shirley, do you have something else?
Oh, we used to have the man come in a truck selling apples, Mr. Thomas. And then there was the, he sold dishes and pots and pans, came through the neighborhood. And the umbrella man came to
Oh,
fix
yeah.
umbrellas and repair the scissors.
oh
sharpen
yeah, the
scissors.
one that sharpened knives. He
Yeah.
carried this big wheel, you know, for sharpening
Yeah.
wheels. Stone. He carried it on his back. That's strapped on his back, and he come and sharpened the scissors for a few cents. And that was, well, you can remember, of course, afterwards they had bakery, and everyone had, they still have some places, the milk deliveries, and
Yeah.
the Nichols Bakery was there, and other bakeries had been there.
Well, I used to deliver milk before I went to school,
Yeah.
because we had cows and we delivered milk in the neighborhood.
I delivered a Post Gazette. That was the first job I ever had.
Yeah.
had to walk to Finleyville to pick up the papers, and you had to walk before school to deliver them.
You had to walk.
It was all walking now.
And I lived just right over the hill from the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Blacksmith shop.
And the blacksmith shop was right
Oh,
on the
okay.
lower
Where
yeah,
was the-
Dick
where was
Hausman's.
that?
That was down at the corner of
Churchill
Churchill and Venetia Road.
Road.
I
Yeah.
think my dad used to take horses down there to be shoed or shod, or what do they call it?
Yeah, whatever. But no, we used to go down there and watch when we were kids and watch Dick Hausman there with his forge in there and put
Right.
the metal in there and grab it and hit. He wasn't a very big man, but he could handle those horses quite well.
Yeah, nowadays we have the throwaway society.
Yeah,
Back then, when you broke something,
you went and got it fixed.
yes,
Yeah.
and besides that was during the World War II, and things were rationed, and I guess he had a pretty good business at that time.
I don't know if any of you remember during World War II how we used to recycle aluminum.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
we used to get cigarette paper and chewing gum paper.
Chewing gum
and make
paper,
a ball out of
anything,
it.
yeah, anything like that.
Well, the Boy Scouts go around collect all the newspapers. And I remember one time we used to go down into the bottom in Hackett, down by the creek, and pick up those pods from the milkweeds.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they were supposed to take those fluffy
yeah.
stuff out of them and put them into Life Vest.
I remember that.
Yeah, is that what they did with them? I remember collecting those things, but I never knew what they did with them.
Yeah, flotation devices, I imagine.
And during World War II, our store was just crowded with people the day they'd bring in the soap powder and different things were rationed.
Well, I'll bet.
And they had the blue and red tokens and
Meat stamps and the
and
sugar.
There was no gas
Coffee.
stations in Hackett
well,
then?
our dad started with the
What?
gas station in 1924.
But
There were pumps there?
He had
Yes.
there was a pump in front of the
remember
store.
Yeah.
Oh, then the beer distributor, Cushy's.
Oh, yeah.
They had a beer distributor there, but there were no.
Well, who had, in some of the articles that I've read, there was a butcher shop there. Well, who had the butcher shop?
Dubs had a butcher shop, but
This
it
was in
wasn't there. Well,
my dad had a butcher
his
shop.
store had a butcher shop in it, and so did Zupan's, and
Yeah.
I don't know about schools prior to that, but there were two. They sold meat.
I think when my dad started, he just sold gas and things like that, candy and pop and things probably.
That was a favorite store for the kids, the
And then when
candy
we
store.
came along, he went into the groceries, the fresh fruit and vegetables and the meats, canned goods then.
Well, while we were still young, I remember he worked in the mine for a while.
And my mother would take.
Then later on, he expanded the store and he quit the mine.
What was the mine that was down there? Is it the, did I read it, or am I wrong on that, the Swagler, or is that somewhere else?
I don't know. My
There was
grandfather.
That was in Venetia, I think.
Wilkinson mine there was, and Davy Reese, there was a mine that Davy Reese is up there because the tracks went right across there, up there, right by
Because
the Reese
being a
homestead.
mining town,
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to
Yeah.
be.
Well, there was a large mine that
Wasn't there a
Well, they were
mine
like I said,
across the
closed there
track?
Yeah.
at the turn of the century. But then there were small mines afterwards. I was mentioned before that John Wilkinson had 2 horses drawing a wagon with coal in it and delivered it to us.
They
for
were
a
more
while.
like family mines.
Just one miner,
Yeah.
2 miners worked in there, hand loading it all.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't a commercial mine.
My grandfather had a coal mine on the farm too, and
Yes.
Yeah?
I don't know.
We gotten coal from him in his little truck, and he delivered grapes. So my dad could make. A lot of people at that time made wine.
Oh,
They
yeah.
also had a big farm on the property with a lot of grapes and apple orchard, and they had the pigs and the cows and the mule named Barney.
Barney.
And my cousin says every time he got a new
what's
mule,
on
his
this chair?
name was Barney.
One of your legs
We don't
on
want to
the
lose
chair?
you.
It went down in the.
Oh,
It went in the slot.
I thought that was the end.
Yeah, I thought I'm going down. It's been very interesting. I think most of us, we've all lived in the Hackett or Peters Township. lifelong resident of Peters Township.
And you knew
lived
everyone
right
in
behind
the
the dairy
town,
barn.
too. I think you knew everybody that lived there.
Yes, you knew
then.
everyone. You
Everyone
said
was friends. And
It was a very close
we
community.
neighbored. We went to each other's house. Like
Mhm.
today, they
I
don't do
lived,
that.
Oh, you
all
don't know
over
your
the
neighbor,
No,
and that's
right,
sad.
yeah.
It really is.
her brother lived in, we had a duplex, and her brother lived in our house for 17 years.
Yeah.
Ron Sopko and Al, which is, we're all good friends today.
Yeah.
All clients of mine. We have a lot of fun together.
Well, is there anything else you can think of that you would like to bring out? Or,
As far as Hackett's concerned,
yes,
write a book on it.
You're right. Yeah. Somebody already has.
Have they?
Oh, yeah. Peters Township history in Hackett
Oh.
is,
Oh, part of it, yeah.
yeah.
My brother Tony said that he was going to write a book about it. I'll have to get after him.
Yeah, I can have
my
to
Aunt
write a book.
Reen was supposed to have written something, and
Pardon?
my Aunt Reen,
Did she?
Catherine, was supposed to. She'd mentioned it to me, but I've never read it. It's probably at the house somewhere.
You know, it would be wonderful. That's why I do these shows like this, because nobody knows. I
No,
mean, in this
the
way, it'll
past
be
history of
it'll
the-
be on tape and everything, and so if
Well,
anybody's
on the
interested,
paper here, I don't know if he can zoom in now.
yeah,
That's where we're
let's
going
try
to.
that and see.
This is the home that I was born in right here. Can we pick that up? No, I don't think so. It'd have to be blown up.
You can't get it.
No, I don't think it will be there, but it was mentioned in the
There,
almanac.
there it is. There it is. Oh yeah.
That home right here,
Right
I
there.
guess.
Okay.
The home that, well, 6 from the 7 of us were born there.
Uh-huh.
And it's right adjacent to the Hackett Club. And I
Oh,
built
is
the
that
home
where that
there.
is then? And the other was a school.
Dubbs's garden there, John Dubbs, who's still a resident of Peters, always enjoyed some of his beautiful flowers.
Always gladiolas.
Gladiolas, yeah.
Is John Dubbs? Is he the same one that had the butcher shop in Finleyville?
His brother.
His brother.
He
His
worked at the
brother.
butcher shop, though. He worked there for years. That's the only place I remember John working, really.
That's all, yeah.
Because I know
Well,
my
a little
dad
bit after
used
that,
to
he
go.
worked somewhere else for a couple of years.
You know, my dad used to go down to Dubbs's to get the beef to make salami, and that, you know, because he makes the salami with
Yeah.
the beef with the pork, and he says that's the only place you can get good beef.
They had good meat.
Yeah.
Marie and
My brothers
Polly.
worked there. All 3 of my brothers worked
Yeah.
there.
Well, I think we're going to show some pictures on the screen, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about them then. Okay?
Very good, Erma.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, what's that?
That's Feefield's
That's the school up at
school.
Peoples.
Yeah, the
That's just a little
Hackett
before
school,
our time.
where my aunt.
But that's the
Is that the
People's
school
Hall.
that then was made into a hall then? Is that
Right.
the one you were telling
And
about?
our Aunt Rose was the teacher.
And that was taken around 1920.
24,
earlier.
22.
Do we have another one? What's that?
Oh.
boy.
Whose house is that?
That's not our
Then-
grandparents' house. Does that take it?
It may
That
be.
looks
Yeah.
like
That's
it.
what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. That's the Talbon
Yeah,
Homestead.
that's before it was remodeled.
Yeah, that's the Talbon. I remember
Is
it
that
like
right
that.
in Hackett then?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yes,
on
it's
the
right
hill.
up from the store, right up on the hill.
They moved in 1901, Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving Day.
It's been remodeled. Later years, my aunts remodeled it. Closed in the porches.
Is that where Catherine Talbon lived?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, I had her on my show for the
Yeah, I
schoolhouses.
remember that.
Yeah.
She was probably born there.
Yeah, my dad was.
Do we have another one? Oh, that must be an
Okay.
aerial view.
Okay, that's the Talbon Homestead. And it's,
Could we see that one again, please?
Yeah, the big white house
and
in
up
the
on
front.
top is the old barn. And they had first running water in their house in Hackett because the cistern was up there by the barn, up on a hill.
Oh,
And the gravity
Gravity fed.
Just-
fed, and it even fed up to the second story of the house.
Oh,
That shows it's all overgrown now in that picture. It used to be, you know, the grave arbors were up there and
yeah.
things then. And they had their own gas well, too, at the top of the hill.
They had free gas.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anything else? Oh, here's something else.
Well, that's the Talbon store,
Oh, okay.
where my aunt was the postmistress.
Oh, that's not the store that
That's-
was right along the road? Is that
Yeah,
the-
it's-
That's the one down the
Change.
lower end.
Became a beauty shop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Across the
Libby's.
tracks.
Libby's, Libby Hudson.
Okay, that's where the post office was then.
Yeah, that's where the post office
Do we need
was.
to see it again?
Wouldn't
No.
hurt. I didn't see the sign.
Can we have it again? Thank you.
Mhm.
I believe part of it was a feed store too.
And they made cider there and ground grain and.
It's
Oh, what's
probably
this
your
one?
relatives.
Oh, that looks
Well,
like a
that's
school.
another
That looks like a
picture.
school.
That's another picture of Hackett
Oh,
School.
that's, yeah.
Which one is
Is that
that?
People's Hall?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Feed Hall,
uh-huh.
yes.
Oh,
That was probably before the
Mhm.
time of the other picture.
Mhm.
But I think the lady on the right is might be Margaret Mcconaughey. She looks like her to
Oh.
me.
Oh, speaking
That's
of
taken from the back of the school, I think.
McConaughey used to come and take an order for my mother for years and years
Yeah.
and deliver it.
I know. We had the same thing.
Did you?
Are there any more pictures? Oh, what's that? Anybody?
Well,
Okay, that's taken on the, I'd say, by the north side of Hackett, looking down towards the railroad tracks. And in the center, that picture is the old Fiefhold Hall.
Oh.
Let's go back to that one again, can
Yeah.
we? Looks like they were having some fun there.
We're playing horseshoes?
Yeah, that's right in front of my grandparents' house. That's called Talbon Way now, that street.
Okay.
You-
Are they arguing over who's the
No.
closest there?
Oh, no.
Probably
Probably
check it out.
discussing it, yes.
There's
yeah.
a cornfield there where
Oh,
There-
what's that?
There's the,
Oh, that's the...
Windmill?
no, that's
That's
what
the
might have been the
gas well.
gas
the
well.
gas well.
Yes,
the
I remember
gas
that.
well.
I don't know who the men are on.
That would be up on top of the hill where you...
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
The other pictures that we looked at.
Oh, we got a
Oh,
band.
yeah. Our dad was in the band. I think that's him on the right. They had a band in. I don't know if it was a Hackett or Finleyville band. But they had a
Wow.
band.
No accordion? Well, no, you wouldn't have an accordion in a band.
My grandfather played the accordion for a lot of dances. One of those might be our Uncle Gus.
Oh, I remember Gus, yeah.
They had uniforms and everything. Oh, what do we got
There's
here?
John Talbon's store.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one it shows. So the one on the right in the back would be my Aunt Mary.
Uh-huh.
And I think Aunt Reen's on the left on the bottom. I can't make out who the others are. One of them might be Aunt Marg.
Mm-hmm. Are there any more pictures or?
Is that it?
Okay. Perhaps now we could talk a little bit about the present of Hackett. We've seen all the past and that, so maybe we can talk just a little bit about the present. If any of you...
Well, there are paved streets down there now, all of them. And there's
Yeah, even
side
side
streets.
streets are all
sewage
paved
and
now.
water is down there with some of the late. But I can remember when my parents telling me in the house there, when they bought it from John Talbon, there was no electricity in it. We had to have
Well,
electricity
we didn't have
in it.
electricity for years.
It had gas lights, you know,
Yeah.
the little, you probably can remember some
Oh
of
yeah, I
those too.
remember cleaning those globes.
And, but it's
There's street
interesting.
signs now, too.
All the homes are
Oh,
street
street
signs, and all,
signs,
most of the
yeah.
homes have been remodeled. Well, I built a new home down in there. My dad said that if we wanted to, I could build a home there, and I built one right adjacent to his. That was in 1957, I believe. My brother still lives there now.
Is that where Willie lives?
Right.
I wanted him to come. He wouldn't come.
You
Wouldn't it?
He still lives there. I said, well, he said, no, I don't want to do that.
No, Bill or Tony would be, there.
Yeah.
But the things that have changed, and of course, I think John Chapman had one of the first television stores around. He was, when he first started business, and he did the remodeling down there in the Hackett Club. It used to be outhouses when they first had the club there up until after the war, really. Right after the war. And
then you got indoor plumbing.
Indoor plumbing. Like my dad used to say, he says, well, they changed facilities now. You go to the bathroom inside and you eat outside, the blankets.
Yeah.
But it's amazing the things that have changed over the years.
A lot of new families.
New families.
I don't know.
And a lot of children from the old families live there.
Yes, there are quite a few.
Yeah.
But there was...
I guess there's some Chapmans still living down there, isn't there? Or have they all gone?
Chapman's in Peters Township.
Yeah.
Ben has lived in a township all his life.
John for a long time.
John lived in the township for quite a while.
But there's a few of the Cushies that live.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Still
there's probably
there.
some of the Cushies
Yeah,
that are
still live
there.
Well, my brother Bill lives in the house that I built in '57 there, and my brother Tom lives out on Churchill Road. We built a home, and that's where Charlie lives too, on Churchill Road now.
And
My daughter, too.
Yeah,
She lives
right
on
near.
And Johnny Dubs still lives in Hackett.
Yeah,
and,
Johnny Dubs and
Seal Kachinik.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the last of the Kachini.
And Eva Babbage. She was in San Diego.
Gail
Yeah.
Cushy,
Gail Cushy's married to Bill Dobich. They
Art
live.
Cushy and Pemberton.
Yeah, they all still live there.
She just passed away,
Yeah.
Gail. Not Gail, but
Yeah,
Ethel.
Oh.
But no, there's...
But the blacksmith, they didn't have a picture of the blacksmith shop. They didn't
No,
show.
there was a...
I
Yeah.
thought we had one, but I guess
You had one.
maybe it wasn't clear enough that they could put it
Oh.
on.
Because that's all tore out of there now. It's just all grass planted.
Yeah. It was right across from where Mr. Townsend used to live.
Right, yes,
Across the
yes.
road.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
We
right
had a
adjacent.
picture of the cobblestone brick streets too. It's not there.
But it's...
And there's no little grocery store no more.
No little
None.
grocery
No
store.
None?
stores of it.
In,
There's one sporting goods store, isn't there, Charlie?
in Finley
Snows.
and Hackett? Oh.
Don't they have a bait shop
A
there?
bait shop, yeah.
Bait shop and some... I've never been in it, but
Yeah, no.
there's no grocery store in
The
there.
beer distributor's gone now.
Beer distributor's gone.
We're going to go to a tape now that we took almost a month ago, that we did a field trip on Hackett. So let's see how much you can remember whenever we went on that, okay? That's down the
Cemetery.
Where you enter.
cemetery.
It's a well-kept
Hackett
place.
Cemetery. It's vast.
Gee, where is this?
That's citation for Archie
Matthews
Matthew.
Oh,
was
okay.
killed during World War II in a
Right.
plane.
He got the Congressional Medal of Honor.
It was signed by the president, Roosevelt.
They're building a new one they're going to put down there in the entrance now
Oh,
Oh,
for him.
that's a pretty picture
That's
there.
nice,
Now,
yeah.
okay, the post office then
Was across the track,
across the
to
track.
the left.
it would be across the track on the
You might
left.
have it there.
Well, we're back up in the hill.
Cemetery.
It's back up to the cemetery now.
The Buckeye trees have been up there for ever since I remember.
Is that right?
Yeah, we used to go up there and pick up the Buckeyes and shine them up and thread them through and make belts and bracelets. And
Where's that? Is that? Oh, here we go. Here it is.
Going up to it.
Well, this is the old, her grandfather's store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
that's
Used to
down
be-
there at
Oh, that's where
That's
Zupan
Beauty
it
Shop.
was.
No, that's Beauty
Where the
Shop.
post
Libby's,
office-
Oh, is that Libby?
Where
Oh,
the
yeah.
post office
Hodgson's
was.
had
Yeah,
a beauty
that's
shop
Libby's
and
there,
home
yeah.
there.
That's the tavern of
Right.
I think Pemberton's Tavern.
That's where it was. It's right along the railroad tracks, so that they would unload the trains right there.
And see, I thought it was on right where that wooden fence was there. That's where I thought it
Boy,
was.
there used to be some severe flooding down on Peters Creek down there, right by that
Oh,
shop.
I
and that.
remember when we used to go to St. Francis to church. If it was a big
Yes.
storm,
Yes,
you couldn't get across that creek.
that's across the
Yeah.
way.
Look how different it is today.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
This
that
is
was
where the-
Zupan's
This
store.
is where the blacksmith
Okay.
shop.
Yeah, that's where the blacksmith shop was, right there.
Right there?
In front,
Your home was up back.
My
right
house
off
to
the
the
road.
right.
Right off the road was blacksmith shop.
This is Churchill Road.
Yeah. That's on my old home, right there.
Oh,
Okay, and this is Zupan's
Zupan's
Yeah,
store.
Zupan's store.
that's still down by that corner then.
Mm-hmm.
It's a home.
Our street is right where I lived, it's right up there where we were trying to look at the house. It's just up. Well, so is Shirley
Yeah,
there.
it's just,
We're all, yeah.
Just across.
Mhm.
That's Wilkinson's.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's where we had the coal mine.
Churchill.
And
Oh,
When we grew up, they had a large farm where on that side was a house, used to be cornfields, and on this side used to be pasture fields where they had sheep.
the road wasn't there then.
It was a dirt road.
Dirt road.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then they stripped all that coal out of there right
Yeah.
right after the war, I think.
And this is the old Swagler farm.
Oh yeah, that's where Irway, who was on the school board for a while, he lived there.
Oh,
My daughter went to school with his daughter.
That,
where's this at? Is this still
That's
down?
Swagler, this, yeah,
Oh,
that,
That's
still,
still
Churchill.
Churchill Road.
that barn, I think it was built back in the 1800s.
It's still standing.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
Hackett.
There's a
Oh,
Hackett
there's
Club.
Hackett Club. It was called something else though before.
SNPJ.
Hackett, no,
Well,
Hackett,
Hackett
Slovene
Educational Entertainment
Society.
Slovene.
Slovenian.
It was known as then or now?
Now it's still known as that
I'm the one that-
HENS.
Had the contract to put the siding on it and new.
Upstairs where the
everything.
dances were held.
Mm-hmm. They used to have big meetings there too.
Oh
I
yeah, during
remember attending some
the
of the
war
meetings.
times they had the what did the civil defense or what was it
Yes, civil defense.
Well, I remember going to a meeting there when they wanted to make
that's
where I
the beer,
lived
was
the
the other
R2 and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You
That's
know,
the other
and
school.
there's-
No,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
beer.
where the
beer distributor.
Oh, that's the
Cushies.
beer.
They had
Oh,
cushies
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Used to
Cushy
be.
beer
Used to
distributor.
be, yeah. They changed that.
There's our old house right there on the right,
Oh,
and
that's
it's a
it.
Marty house next to it.
Yeah. This is your house.
This is
coming
the house we
there.
looked at before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My two brothers own it, and it's a rented property now.
Oh, your two brothers still own it.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the house that was pictured before. And yeah, we were all born in that home.
And the next is Mardick's, where the Mardick boys.
Right, all the Marty brothers,
Yeah,
the
there's a
builders.
bunch of them.
Yeah, there's builders now.
Oh,
Bob and-
15 miles an hour.
Johnny Dubs is, isn't it?
Where's this at?
That's across the street from Herm's, where Herm lived. That's Johnny Dubs.
Oh, that's John Dubbs'
Oh, that's
place.
his
yeah,
garden.
that's his garden.
Oh.
I think he was sitting under a tree.
Lower
I
end of
can't
Hackett.
recognize some of the paved streets weren't there before. Now there are.
Used to be gravel and red dog.
Right? Oh, we had a lot of puddles.
Used to run around barefoot.
Well, that's
This
your
is where our
store
store and home
that they
was.
remodeled it
They
now.
remodeled and took off on the right side, cut it down, made it smaller. It's a home now.
And this is,
That's the other school?
yes.
That's
mhm.
the other
Yeah,
school.
that's it. That's where the school, because I was constantly by.
one of it.
The porch wasn't on here before, just the other
No.
part. Then there was a room in addition in the back of it that was added on to that. But that was. And we're going down.
We're going down the street there.
Yeah, that's where it used to be
Which way is
paved
that
streets.
going?
And
that
that
going
is where it
like
was
towards
cobblestone.
Yeah. Oh, that's the main road, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going,
It's in front
looking
of,
down towards the store.
McClure's house. Lizzie, where McClure's home? It's on the left.
Oh, where's this?
Okay,
Where's
this is,
That's Chap.
yeah, that's where
Chapman?
Chapman's
Yeah,
started his business.
Started his business.
Oh, is that?
Oh,
And,
Yeah, that's it.
that's where we used to look in this one window when he had
the big ones, the glass
TV shop.
window.
his TV shop and watch TV through the
what's
window.
TV through? Oh, what's that? Oh, that's Talbon
Oh
Way.
yeah, that's our grandparents' home.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it's enclosed on one side. They changed it a good bit after they remodeled it. It's a big house. It had
Yeah.
6 bedrooms upstairs
Oh, are there?
at the time.
Are there still Talbons that live in there?
My cousin lives there now. My aunt is in a nursing home.
That
That-
looks like
That's Talbon. That's where they was playing horseshoes on that old
Oh,
picture.
that's in the old picture.
That's where the cornfield was on the right.
Well, whose house is
Okay, now that's the old Fiefeld School.
Is it?
Yes.
The
Yeah, that's
Hackett
the back.
School.
Is that the back of it?
back of the old
The back
school.
of it.
Oh,
Since
be
it's
darned.
been
Right.
remodeled.
oh,
It's been changed. It's you can hardly recognize it from the old
yeah,
pictures.
right.
But
That's-
that's what's left of it.
Looks like they're still doing some remodeling.
Right. Looks that way. All the Marty boys from Hackett, they grew up in Hackett. They're pretty big builders. They build a lot
Yeah.
around the township.
A lot.
And that's from the front of the
Yeah,
Fiefeld
Oh,
School.
yeah.
Never had that brick
all that
That
wall in
wasn't
front
there
of it.
before.
No.
No.
Or was it?
It's completely different.
Yeah, that ruins the view of it.
Yeah.
Put a garage in there, it looks like.
And the Proger homestead was right below it.
Okay, that's
Oh,
the
what's
slate dump.
Slate dump.
The remains
Oh.
of the slate dump where the large coal mine was in Hackett.
Across the
Right.
railroad
Remember
track.
you
Is
said
that
the
that
Hackett
one that was,
mine?
yeah,
Yes.
Hackett mine.
It was a large slate dump, so it had to be a prosperous mine at
Oh,
one time.
yeah.
Well, with all that vegetation growing around there and everything, you can still see some of it, so it must
Yeah.
have been.
And a lot of it's been washed away.
Who was that one?
Who was that?
Some cripple.
Was that you?
Yes.
Where's this,
Who's that?
Charlie?
That's Chapman's
Oh,
house.
Chapman's house, right.
He's trying to get a view of the slate dump to get a
Oh.
perspective where it is. But it's been eroded away over the years. It was quite huge one time.
Oh, I think you told me what the, no. That's
Okay,
not
this
the-
is, used to be a big black barn around the turn.
The silo is probably there.
Yes, and this is all that remains of the barn.
Oh, is that where Ron Sopko's daughter lives now? Is that right by Williams?
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the oldest houses in the township too. It's in the Historical Society. The old, what do they call that house?
Right
Right
house.
house.
Right
Uh-huh.
house.
And the Williams house across the way was just about as old, I think.
Well, do we have anything more that we'd like to
So,
reminisce?
well, we thank you, Erma, for
We
the opportunity to discuss our
Yeah.
community.
No, I thank you all for coming.
You're
And
welcome.
it was very interesting. And I think no matter when you talk things over that has been and everything, it really brings a lot of things
Brings
to
back
mind.
memories, doesn't
Brings
it?
a lot of
Makes
memories
you-
back. And these
Yeah.
memories will be on tape.
A
And
lot of happy memories.
right,
Well-
when families were families.
Right.
Well, the three of us here, Rosemary and Shirley and myself, we just had the enjoyment of going to the graduation with
You mean
the
Shirley?
50 year.
50th Shirley. Didn't I say Shirley?
You said Charlie, didn't
Did I say Charlie? I said
Did
Shirley.
Yes.
Oh, well.
I meant
Anyway,
Don't make Charlie older than he is.
No, no. Charlie's a youngster here.
I just looked the oldest.
we had a 3-day affair at our
We did. It was nice,
graduation.
really.
Big turnout.
Isn't that wonderful what they do at the school for graduation
Right.
to honor the 50
Yes.
years?
Right. It was
It is.
very
So
nice.
special whenever my 50 years
Uh-huh.
was, and then,
That was very nice.
you know, to think that you're remembered after all those
All
years.
those years, right.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So,
We ended it with a picnic at Peters Woods Park then.
When we went to school there at first, there were like only 6 teachers in Venetia, and I don't know how many at the high school, but now I read where there are 200 teachers, and that's more than teachers than we had students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can just see the changes in the community.
Yeah.
We had 45 in our class, and it was the biggest class.
Up until that, about
45.
up until
2
49.
years later, his class was 24.
Yeah, his class
Well,
2 years later. But it was
Almost
just-
me. We had 22, so so we always take in quite a well. We take in about five or 6 years in order to make a half decent reunion.
Right.
And that, you know, so we started out. We had our first reunion after 15 years, and then we had it after every 5 years. And Bill Boyce, I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I
you know,
remember Bill
Yeah.
Boyce.
He got up and he says, "We're getting too old. We better have it every 3 years." So now we're up to every 2 years. So
Yeah,
you
so
know.
that's generally the way that things go now. We've enjoyed.
So we no sooner get done planning one than we
It's
have
time
to
to
start
plan
planning
again,
another one.
yeah.
But all my children graduated from Peters.
Yeah, our
We
two-
still have
ours
children,
did.
great nephews. In fact, at the graduation, my great nephew
Graduated.
was
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of my nephew, Tony's grandson that did.
Oh, jeez.
That's wonderful. Well, I thank you all very, very much for your wonderful participation and all these wonderful memories and everything. So
Welcome.
Thank you for having
I hope you
us.
enjoyed it as
Yes,
much as I did.
We have, Erma.
And,
We'll be looking forward to
yeah,
seeing
remember
it.
to look at yourself on TV.
Right.
Just remember, I made you all movie stars. This is Erma Grego from Senior Perspective. Thank you for watching.